So I'll start now. So hello everyone and welcome to Ibi Speaks. My name is Ibinabo Enebi, and today we will be talking about finding love and maintaining connectivity in relationships. And this conversation is part of my love and relationship series for February. And I hope that it will serve as a guide to having meaningful and mindful relationships. So last week I had a special guest. I had two special guests actually. I had Pastor Richard Ibarese and Dr. Amoni Jasper, and we tackled the subject matter of finding love after loss. And it was a very, very insightful and informative session. And if you missed it, no problem. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's Ibinabo Enebi. You're going to find it there. And also at the end of this program, I would also send the link. And so today I have two guests, and one of us is going to share with us her journey into finding love when she least expected it. And the other is a relationship expert, and she is going to empower us with tools and information that we need to help us navigate that space if you're in search, and also to maintain connectivity when we get ourselves in a relationship. So I'd like to introduce my guests. So my first guest is an accountant by training. Her experience spanned educational, the capital market, hospitality, and the hospitality industry for 15 years. And today she's an entrepreneur, and she's into food packaging and retail business. And she's an advocate for urban farming and container farming to promote healthy living. And her name is Olusola Margaret Odujebe. Did I get the pronunciation?
Odujebe.
Odujebe. Okay, so Mercy, you're welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
All right. Very good. I'm excited that you're here. We've been trying to get you on, but this is the right time. So my second guest is a mompreneur. She's an author. She is an international public speaker and a marriage and relationship counselor. She empowers couples to articulate their needs in a relationship and to develop trust and intimacy. Not only that, she would empower us today with the tools and informations to help us to navigate our relationships challenges. And she's been doing this for 20 years. She's CEO and founder of Pillow Talk. Wow. And she's Valerie Muzelenga. And I'm going to call her Auntie Valerie. Auntie Valerie, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Ibi.
Oh, I'm delighted that you're here. And for everyone who's joined me today, I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for taking out your time to be here. I really, really appreciate your time. I can see quite a few people, and I'm very happy that you're here. And if you're here for the first time and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. It's Ibinabo Enebi. And just a quick one, my YouTube channel, this channel, Ibinabo Enebi, is about informing you and educating you and inspiring you on life issues like personal development, relationships, parenting, and faith matters, and lots more. So, Margaret, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I want to say welcome once again to Ibi Speaks, and thank you so much that in spite of your busy schedule, you are here. And you're up there in Canada. So it's you have there 7 hours. Are you 7 hours behind? We're 7 hours ahead of you, right?
Yeah.
So you're all the way from Canada. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure being here.
Perfect. So today we're here to share your beautiful story about finding love when you least expected it. You found love at the time when society thought that it was late. And guess what? I'm super excited for you. And yes. Now, so before, I delve into the whole conversation about finding love, I want us to start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. Now, were you choosy? Were you picky? Did you have a list of requirements that the men that were coming your way at the time did not match up with? Or, what might have caused the long wait, looking back now in retrospect?
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on your time zone. I'm glad to be part of Ibi Speaks today, and I pray that God will do that which He decides to do in our lives in Jesus' name. Thank you for the question. Even though we know God makes all things beautiful in His time, but there will still be some kind of human factor or element in some things that happen in life. Yeah. Let me start from the very beginning, like you said. I knew the Lord as a teenager. I gave my life to Christ as a teenager in mid-80s. And then what was reigning then to develop a young Christian was campus fellowship. And I was in school. I was deeply engrossed in the campus fellowship. And one of the things they told us that time is, if you have a boyfriend, do away with your boyfriend. And I had one at that time. I was in the Polytechnic, was in the University of Ibinabo. And it took me time, but I summoned up courage. And I think if I remember the date, on the 31st of December, 1987, I told him I am quitting the relationship because of what they have taught us in the fellowship. Light and darkness has nothing to do together. We're not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. That was what they told us then. And I just soaked myself in my walk with God. And I did not even think about the issue of marriage. I didn't give it a thought. So I just thought that at the right time, it will come. I was not even praying about it. I just continued like that. And another thing that contributed largely, I was very naive as a young girl. I will stress it, very, very naive as a young girl. Why do I say that? In retrospect, like you said, I remember a few times, not once, not twice, that brothers came, and rather than for me to read the handwriting on the wall, I just wished it away. I just joked about it. I didn't think about it. It was later when I now began waiting. I said, okay, what is it? Was it that he wanted something? Was that he wanted something? And that was how it continued. And so the issue of marriage then, I just felt God will do it at His own time. I didn't really give it a serious thought until years began to go by. And I saw all my friends getting married. And it's like, what's going on here? What's going on here? That was when I took it upon myself to now begin the battle. It now became a battle, serious battle that I had to fight. I don't want to rule out the fact that I know from where we came from, in Africa, the element of the spiritual element, the delay, because then I now began to see, so I now began to have some dreams, terrible and negative dreams that pointed to the fact that this could actually contribute, and the battle began. I wasn't choosy at all. It wasn't that I had a requirement, but just that, I didn't give it a thought, and I was.
Wow, this is a mouthful, So I want to, because I know you're unapologetically Christian, you're a believer. So you I think that what you have done is just to head up, you went straight, to the slaughter, and you just said naivety and Christian doctrine. So let's talk about the Christian doctrine thing. And I know what they were trying to do, but do you think that, looking back now, do you think it was right for them to have told you that if you had a boyfriend, you should let him go? Or do you think they should have done it differently, or there should have been proper counseling?
Okay, thank you for that. I think what they were saying, that probably the way I understood, there was some time that some information will be passed across to you, and the way you understand them will be different. What they were saying then was that as a child of God, don't indulge in sin. Because ordinarily, before you get married, you have to have someone that you have to date for some time. Don't indulge in sin. That was what they were saying practically. And At that time, the kind of messages they were giving us on campus then, and those early 80s, that was when the revival of Pentecostalism began in Nigeria. If you'll agree with me, the early 80s, that was when it began. And what they were bombarding us with there was heaven, heaven, heaven. Let me just share this. That my boyfriend then came to visit me in school. And I came, I think he passed the night, whether one night or 2 nights. And the following Sunday, I couldn't go to fellowship. Said, if you go, they will say somebody came to visit you. Somebody came to visit you. I didn't go even for about 2 weeks. I didn't have the courage to go. I was so afraid, because it was just heaven. Don't do this. I think it's different now. Like I said, that was when the era when Pentecostalism began in Nigeria, and everybody was like, hook, line, and sinker. Hey, we're all going to heaven. We're all going to heaven. We're all going to heaven. And that was how we took it. And so in this age and time, the way it's being spoken to the younger one is different. Now, be cautious. Know what you're doing. Don't indulge in sin. But then it was like, if you have a boyfriend, just break up with them. You don't have to, you must not have any boyfriend. Now, like, talk to God. Are you sure God is in what you're doing? Be led of God. That is what we do now. But then it wasn't like that. It was really wrong.
So you would say you were a victim of the kind of messages that they were teaching. It wasn't really in a bad place, but I just feel like that we know now that it was a little bit heavy-handed. Now you talked about naivety, and the naivety, did it come from a place where we were not given the proper tools to recognize, that somebody wants to marry you and stuff like that?
I will say yes. Like how I grew up with a teacher as my mom. I was raised by my mom. And those days, what teachers used to be. It's just rules, no going out, no mix, no social, nothing. Even all the things we used to do then, listening and debating, you can't go anywhere. So I wasn't really exposed. So all those languages, all those body language, I did not even know anything about body language. When a boy is somewhere, maybe he's winking, he's talking one kind of, you can decode all those terms. I can't decode anything. It was late as I grew older. For example, this was even after youth service. I had my youth service, and a brother came that we served together. He came to the house, and he'll be telling me about his sister-in-law, everything about him, and I'll just be advising him. He came once or twice. I never knew when a man comes to visit you that he has interest in you. So I'll just advise him and he will go. Another one will come from church and visit me and just talk about himself. We just laugh and he will go. So that tells you how naive the upbringing that I had. No friends, no socials, and things like that. So I was just boxed.
This is such a coincidence, because I was having a conversation with one of my friends and another of my friends that she's here, that when we were growing up, we were not given the tools to make the right decisions or the right choices. And at this point in time, please, I would like, because this is a very, very interesting conversation. Mercy has thrown open, a can of worms, I would say. And please, if you have any contributions, if you have any questions, please feel free, because I feel that, that we as a society, just have to ask these questions and tackle this. And so I think you have answered some of the questions that I was going to ask you without even knowing it consciously. But let me ask you this question again. So let's talk about the challenges again. So you waited in your 20s and the 30s and your 40s. And about what age were you when you got married, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, I'd crossed 49.
So you had crossed 49, so 50 was staring at you. What were the particular kind of pressures that you had to go through, and how did you do, and what did you do to scale them?
I had phases in my waiting period.
Okay.
Phases. Okay. When did I know that there's a problem? I think about in my mid-30s, when it was like all my friends had married and it's like, what's going on here? That was when I began to realize that there's a problem somewhere. And I began to pray. At that time, I was agitated. I was not happy. The pressure was there. What's going on here? And, if you have some people online, you say, okay, maybe this one it will happen, but there was no one online. Okay, about the issue of being naive, this is a very interesting one. There was one person there that were very close. Even people thought we're going to get married. And me, I was just too playful. That's another thing, I'm very careful. Just too playful. And I think one day, he just wanted to get something from me. Is she serious? If you ask anybody at that time, they will tell these people they are together. So I think that time we went to camp for convention. And a friend of his was there, said, okay, so you are together here with your wife. That was the friend saying that. And I just said, who married this young boy? And I think just held on to that. And there was something that happened before that time. It was convention of, I think, 1998, thereabout. I've been praying that God, this man, if he's the one, this convention, don't let it pass me by. I want a confirmation. And here we were in the car. Somebody was saying, you are here with your wife. And I said, who married this young boy? When we got back home after convention, I said, what have I done? What have I done? And that was when the relationship sort of just broke. So I said, God, what happened? I've prayed, I wanted answer, and you were telling me, and I just wished it away out of carelessness, insensitivity, and that's very, very key. To be sensitive. And that was how the thing fizzled away. And that was when the pressure was so much on me. The weight was so much on me. What I'd been waiting for, believing God for, and the thing was just coming on a platter of gold. And out of carelessness and insensitivity and being naive, I allowed it to slip by. So then the battle began. And a series of bad revelations began to come, and the battle began. And the real pressure came from my mom. Mothers, it's out of care and concern. But they can take it to the next level. And it was that time, I would rather not go to visit her. I was staying in Lagos, she was staying in Ibadan. And I can spend months, years, not visiting her, because each time I went, it's the same story. And my father too will tell you the catalog of your friends that married, this one that got married, this one that got married, So I was avoiding the two of them. It even got to time, my mom was now, just have a child. Just have a child. You are not even going to get married. Just have a child. No, those were the stories, and that pressure was there. That was the phase. But another phase now came after I had grown. And during that time too, I was always fighting God, quarreling with God, serving you faithfully, nothing is happening. But the turning point came when I stumbled on a scripture in the Bible, even though I'm sure I will have read it, but there are times you've read some scriptures until it got to you, that God opened your eyes. And I'll read that scripture. It is Psalm 84, verse 11. And I read, it says, for the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord will give grace and glory. Nothing, no good thing will he withhold from those who walk uprightly. When I stumbled on that scripture, I said, no. Issue of marriage is a settled case with God. And I stopped worrying. It was no longer a pressure. That even people, if they ask, it will be as if are you not thinking about this matter again? I will just laugh. I remember a time a brother was concerned, and I organized prayer that I was going to visit every week, every Wednesday. And each time we were praying, it would be as if you are not praying. But at that time, I'd gotten rid of this scripture. And at that time, God had begun to deal graciously with me. Let me just share the story about my life. You call me Mercy, but you will not see Mercy in all of my certificates or all of my official documents. It was not my birth name. It was at the critical time, the low period of my life. Career delay, my life was stagnated. Nothing was going forward. And I said, God, I need mercy. That was when I picked up that name. I think that was 1998, 99, thereabouts. That was when I began to answer the name.
Mercy.
The God, I want, you must have mercy. Lord, you must have mercy. And the name worked. God actually had mercy on me. I think I was saying something. Okay. So after I got hold of that scripture, and I began to analyze my life, profile my life, that God had been good to me in my career. He took me from the pit, from the dung, and he began to take me to the top. So if God could do this for me, the issue of husband is a done deal. And that was from my 40s. So it wasn't a matter, it wasn't an issue at all any longer. And you know what? From that time, even the last place I worked there for about nine and a half years. People were calling me Mrs. of my maiden name. Because you would never know I wasn't, because it wasn't an issue for me anymore. It wasn't an issue. I know he will do. He said, no good thing will go from those who walk uprightly. Another scripture that I held on, that was my anchor, is he's a faithful rewarder of those who diligently seek him.
Perfect. Now, Sister Margaret Mercy, you know what? Let me just take some questions here, right? And first, someone just left a comment and said, I feel you on that one. I also gave myself a name in the place of my adversity. Born to conquer. Wow, born to conquer. Now, let me take a question. I have some personal questions here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave your questions and your comments in the comment box. But if you want to send me any personal questions, please do, and I'm going to read it out. So I have this question, and it says here, would you agree that religion as it was presented us a kind of bondage? Christ didn't come to put us in chains. He calls us to be spiritual, not religious. What would you advise young women in churches today?
Thank you for that question. You said religion. Religion is just a set of rules. Do this, do this. And unfortunately, that is what we practice in some of our churches today. Just exactly what I ask you to do is what you should do. And that is not what God wants us to do. That is not how God wants us to relate, to do with him. Christianity is a relationship. God wants us to relate with him. And according to the Bible, go to the Lord. What is the Bible telling you to do? Talk to your Father. And as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Not as many as are coerced or cajoled or forced. So I wouldn't say that let me use the word Christian, rather than say religious. Say Christianity has not put us into bondage, but rather to liberate us, to show us the right way, the right path to follow. Praise the Lord. Like I said, look at what I said. It was from the scriptures I got my deliverance. From the word of God, I got and I held on to it, and God came through for me over time. So I would rather say that every one of us should find a place of walking with God. Know God for yourself. God is a faithful God. Talk to him as your Father. There is nothing too trivial that you cannot discuss with God. There were times I was angry. I would be angry with God. I'll be angry. Just like a small child will be angry, maybe with his parents or with his siblings. God will not frown at you for that. Be angry with him. And he has a way of comforting you or soothing you or talking to you. And you know that God is talking to you. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. The pastor in you has come out. Now, let me ask you this question. Another question is, in your opinion, who would you say was responsible for your naivety? Who should have emotionally equipped you as a young woman emotionally? Emotional intelligence is not taught in the church. So I think you've kind of like touched on that when you said your mom.
What I will say to that is that we shouldn't cage or box our children.
Okay.
Let them explore, but give boundaries. Like I said, when we were growing up, for as many of us in our 50s, in 60s, and maybe in late 40s, we know what we went through with our parents. You just have to be home. No social, not going anywhere. After school is home. You can't go anywhere, even parties. You can't go. All my life in secondary school, I don't think I went to any party. The one I went, I think I sneaked because my mother traveled. I sneaked to go. It was on. I went all my life. No friends. Just have to be home. So when you are out there, so when there are boundaries, even teach them yourself. Those days, the only thing they used to teach us is you'll be pregnant. If you agree with me, they were not trust anything. Don't get close to a boy. If you do, you'll be. Those were the only things, and they were scaring you. So give them free will. Let them do whatever they want, but let there be boundaries and checks and balances.
Perfect. Now, I just want to read some of the comments. And you said this, and I wrote it down. You said, let the children explore and give them boundaries. Now, I just want, I'm going to come back to you, but I want Auntie Valerie. Auntie Valerie, I know she's itching to jump in, so I would let her have the floor. Auntie Valerie.
Anyway, I've unmuted myself.
Okay. Auntie V.
Yes.
So I'm sure you've heard, most of the conversations that we've heard. And the two things that jumped at me was Mercy's strict upbringing, her naivety, and then the chains of religion. How would you address that? And then, of course, she advised now that parents should allow the children explore but give boundaries. So can you expatiate on that?
What she has said is very, very true. It resonates with a lot of women, more especially of that age. Okay, that when I say that age, I mean that era. That era when we were growing up, like she's saying, our parents were strict, yes, but then we used to find a way in which you could make friends without your parents knowing. And the reason I'm saying this is they will be like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. If you just talk to a boy, if you talk to a man, you are pregnant. So I never wanted to be near a man, because I knew that they said the fingers were going to be long, and my mother is going to know that I've started dating. At church, they will say, okay, if you start dating, then it is sin. You'll be sinning because you'll be talking to a man. So which is really not true. The only thing that helped was because when we went to school. After going to school, we learned a lot from being at school, from the teachers, from friends, okay? Religion, yes, it played a part and it still plays a part. But what I can say is it is wrong. That she has said it's your personal relationship with God that you have, okay? But then you must be able to learn and have boundaries, okay? So, me, when they said if you talk to a boy or a man, you'll be pregnant. One day I saw my sister. My sister was standing in the street near our house with a boy. So I knew from school that was the boyfriend. So I was like, should I tell on her or should I just keep quiet? So I told on her. I went and told mom, because I didn't want her to be pregnant, because they said if you stand with a man, you'll be pregnant. So I took it, that's how you get pregnant. So I told mom. Mom went with a stick and hit my sister. That why are you standing here with this boy? When we got home, my sister said, is this what you have done, you little girl? Don't you think that you reach my age and you grow up and you know what it's like to start exploring to see if you can find a man or a man can find you out there? We'll see when you reach that age. I'm going to remember this stick you've made mom hit me with. So I thought deeply. So sometimes the teachings that we had, they also have impact and make us as the girl child to stay and wait longer because of the information that they were giving, okay? And then when it comes to the part of being naive, yes, sometimes you can stay naive for a long time and it will take time for you to open your eyes and say, this is what it is. Sometimes when you are at college or at university, or just as you are interacting, even in church, if you are in church, you can miss that opportunity because the window of opportunity for you to have a friend who is interested in you and he is interested in marriage, because they were also being told that the moment you start standing with women, you impregnate them. So you must stay away from the girls. Okay, that was the teaching. Stay away from the girls. So we have this stay away from each other. So dating there becomes a bit of a challenge. But that does not mean that people did not date. They dated. Okay, we dated. But when you date, you have to be mindful to know how to be safe, how you can be safe, how you can protect yourself. Okay, at the same time, so that you don't miss heaven. And then the third part, which I picked up also, it's the evangelical teachings. I call them evangelical teachings. The evangelical teachings, sometimes they do not equip the congregation with the tools and information which can help the congregation to be able to find a mate somewhere there. They will be talking about an equally yoked, which is true. You cannot be unequally yoked with someone who is not a believer. But even if that person is a believer, they are not teaching you how you can go about dating. Okay. So before then also, the men were a bit zealous, the boys, if they go out with a girl, all they want to do is I would say that destroy the reputation of the woman. Like they only had one thing in particular, so you have to be wise. They were just interested in enticing you to open up your legs, and then once they do that, they are gone. So if he has gone and he has damaged you, because that time society was very strict. They were very, very strict about the no sex before marriage. That teaching was there. It's still there, but people are navigating this issue differently about being celibate. So honestly speaking, evangelical teachings does not equip. I hope the teachings will be okay now and they'll be better. This is why I do what I do. And parents, we have to give proper information to our children. And today, yes, people navigate these issues differently. And it's up to how much you have been empowered. If you have proper training from your parents, if you have proper training from the church, we would find that people will be having better homes, better relationships.
Yeah, proper training and proper training, proper relationships. Let me just quickly read through some of the comments that I have here. Very interesting comments. And someone says, let me see that. Yeah, somebody says here, Christianity is about intimate relationship with a loving father. And when you said, when you talked about getting pregnant, someone said that reminds me of this street song we used to sing when we were young. If my body touch your body, you go get belle. And somebody says here, parents are free, but society would bind the children. Parents in this modern age should have honest conversations with our children because they know far more than we did at their age. Mm-hmm. The world is more advanced. Of course, they're having a laugh at this whole idea of you're going to get pregnant if you talk to a girl, if you talk to a boy. And someone says evangelical mentality impresses super spirituality beyond common sense. And someone says proper information, proper training, empowering young people to know the truth about their bodies and their relationships. I think that is very, very profound. Now, I want to Auntie V, now I want to go back to Mercy, but while I'm going back to her, I want you to begin to navigate in your mind the tools that we need. How can we maintain connectivity, and then I'll come back to you. Mercy, are you there? So how did you meet the young man?
Okay. God is a wonderful God. There is nothing that happens that is an accident. God is a very great strategist. A strategist.
I hear you.
Eventually got married 2018. But sinning 2013, that was 5 years before. I was just briefly, it was in the night. He came to Nigeria then with a family. And a friend, that's a friend of the two of us, asked us to go and say hello to them. And I cannot even say this is how this person looked, but it was in the night and there was no light, thanks to our country. So I cannot recognize any from anywhere. Even the name after that time, I don't think I can remember the name. And that was the first time that we met. And fast forward to 2018, 2017, thereabouts, he lost the wife. And he had to come to Nigeria for some assignment and things like that. And another family friend now said, go and help me to see Sister Mercy, because I was selling some things which they needed to buy. And he was in Nigeria. After the wife passed on, he had, I think, a list of people. Of course, being a pastor, he has to marry and life has to continue. And remembered Mercy that they've been talking about one Sister Mercy that love God and this and that. He's been hearing the story. And he has lists of people that he was considering. And Sister Mercy happened to be one of them. And I think he had met those ones and it's like, it was him. And that's great. I want to go to Nigeria, not for Sister Mercy, but for other businesses. And coincidentally, or God's own way, help us to go and get this thing from Sister Mercy. So it was like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to see this sister. And from the blues, I just had a call and it was, okay, hello, sir, how are you, this and that, okay? That somebody asked to come and collect something from you, okay? Give me your address. And I gave him. And in a jiffy, I said, this man just called me. How come he's just here just like that? So, well, it's okay, no problem. But what I noticed was that someone that I've never spoken to, it's like we were there for about 2 hours, just I think we've known ourselves for years, from one topic to another, the chemistry was just too much, and we're just flowing, just talking generally. And I discovered that within a week, he had come to my place thrice. I was like, what's going on? And at that time, I have a friend visiting that was staying with me. And I said, what's wrong? This man has been coming. What is it? He said, wait, what's wrong with you? Don't you know this man has just lost the wife? I said, what is it? I beg, I don't want this kind of, as at that time, before the time, the issue of husband, I've put it aside. Not that I'm not expecting, but I wasn't really praying that God just do it at your own time. And the prayer was praying that God, don't let me make mistake. Because I knew the man will come. That one is settled. But God, I don't want to make mistake was a prayer I was praying anytime I remember to pray. And one thing led to the other. And the interesting part of it, okay, and also, okay, this won't be fair on me. Be a good girl. This man has been to your place about 2 or 3 or 4 times. So I'm going to say hello to him too. It won't be fine. It won't be fair on my part. And I went to the camp. I was staying in camp then. I was staying in Bagada. And I don't know what, one thing led to the other. We went to camp. He was supposed to come to Lagos. I left my car in camp. I ended up not going to camp to pick my car. And they had to take me back to camp. There was so much traffic. And we were staying in the in-laws' house, a duplex. And I just said we should pray. Okay, as we knelt down to pray, God, thank you for the wife you have given me. Say, what kind of
again?
What kind of thing is that? What kind of statement is that? What kind of prayer is that? I didn't say amen. Because where is that one coming from?
Again? You want to make the same mistake you made the last time?
But you know, from the blues, let us pray. God, thank you for the wife you've given me. I was just like, what kind of, say amen now. So I just kept quiet. And from there, one thing led to another, and here I am today.
Okay, so you talked about the chemistry. What was different? Because now, you know, something kept pushing you, at least now, at least you advised yourself. So what was different from then and from now and then from the past? Were you more well aware or self-aware?
Okay, you know, as you grow older, you become more experienced.
Okay.
You learn. You know where you are falling in the past. How did I fall? What did I do? How did I get out of it? So over time, you know, and one has become matured. Now, almost 50. I'm talking of those days of 30s, 20 years in between. Of course, maturity has come in. Let me use Nigerian language. I've borrowed myself sense.
You have to borrow yourself sense.
Reviewing those earlier days, like I said, brothers came after youth service. There was one particular one that was coming twice. He would just come, he would just tell me a lot of things about himself, and I would just advise him. We even pray, and I would just go. You know? So later I said, oh my God, was that this brother wanted something? I didn't see it like that. So maturity had come in. Experience had set in. So that's
okay, Sister Mercy, let me just take some of the comments here. Someone says here, amazing story. Thank God for lives. And another one says, this was divine connection. And another one says, yes, I had to borrow myself. So the person is just reiterating your what you said. Now, I want to take a question from somebody here, and it says, I'm certainly one of the men who were raised similarly on based of different cultures and beliefs, not evangelically. I would be one of the few boys of my generation to have never known a woman until I was married, but I believe that it would have been different or difficult today, as we are made to believe in the respect of women and that they are sacred. And that they are sacred and should never be messed up with. However, our time and today are different eras, and we must be very open to educate our children that the world has changed. Thanks for bringing such discussions on board, as parents need better approaches, and especially we in the diaspora and our children. And someone says, thank you, Mercy, for your honesty, very refreshing. So now, I want to ask you this question. Yeah, it's a bit of a personal question, but I want to ask it because people want to know, you know, you're Jesus girl, the lover of God. So in all these times you were waiting, no hanky-panky.
No.
No hanky-panky. Now, what would you say? Do you think that it helped? It helped you in keeping your mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what helped me as a young girl, a teenager, I just loved God. Because I remember my mom was going to a particular church then, a white garment church. I'm not discrediting any church. I just felt I wasn't comfortable. I just wasn't comfortable going with her. And I stopped following her. For months, she would go to church on Sunday and I would stay back at home. I wasn't a Christian, I wasn't a believer. I was talking about early 80s. So as I thought, I think about 13, 14, I just said I wasn't going to live with any man until I get married. I just made that decision by myself. Just made that decision as a young girl. And over the years, I was able, not that there were temptations. There were temptations, but I will remember that thing I said. Because I remember in school, like I told you, when I gave my life to Christ, I didn't really understand what it was to be born again. Then until I got to school, campus fellowship, and they began to teach us. So I still had, boyfriend, whatever. And I remember, and then one came to my room, but immediately I would just, And the one I broke up with that I told you, it was intimate. We were close, intimate. But no, that boundary is there. Can't go beyond this.
You can't go beyond the boundaries. Listen, the chat box is on fire. I don't know whether I should leave you at the face chat box. Somebody says here, in our time, the biology teacher was our source of information, and you honored yourself, which helped you to maintain your boundaries. So the importance of honoring yourself and maintaining your boundaries. Auntie Valerie, I want you to jump right in and just do the work. So tell us, so what are the keys? What do we need to do, when we're waiting to in the space of waiting?
When you are waiting, don't just wait at home. You must be going out there.
I want to write it down.
Don't just wait at home and you are praying and you are just at home. No, he won't come. Sister Mercy was going out when she went out to the, conferences. And then during that conferences, whatever, she was able to meet people and people were able to meet her. This is how you meet people. You don't just stay in the house and you are just praying. You are praying that he will come. He won't come, or she will come. She won't come in the house. You have to go out there, but you have to know where to go. Some people, they say it's wrong. Like the culture here in England, if they say, if you're just staying in the house, you won't come. If you don't go to church, depending on your background or where you come from. So I'm just addressing everybody across the board. Go out there, put yourself out there and be seen. And when you are going out there, do not dress up like you. Being humble does not mean that you don't have to dress to kill. Dress to kill. You can go to a pub and buy a soda. You can be drinking. Even there, people, you can share a message of Jesus Christ. Let's not be too holier than thou. This is how we miss the boat. We miss the boat as the boat is passing by, and we miss it. You just raise a finger, maybe like this, a hand, and then you put your hand down. They don't see your sign or your flare that there's a beautiful woman out there, there's a goddess there. Let this ship stop, and then go and meet that beautiful goddess. You have to dress to kill. You have to put yourself out there. Do not be scared. 2, 3, try to be gentle. Have that disposition which is of gentleness. Sometimes, I know we are made different, we've got different characters, but there are some of us who our voices are up there, our decibels are up there, and will be shouting too loud. If you are too loud, the boys, sometimes they stay away because they just feel intimidated by the loudness that you have. So you find that you have to tone it down. You don't have to be too loud because they love to look for gentleness. As much as we look for a man with values, a man who has values, who has a vision, who knows his purpose in life, he knows where he is going. So when we are looking also as women, we must go for a man There's no perfect man and there's no perfect woman. We are all there. It's being intentional. You have to be intentional. When she was ready, when Sister Mercy was ready, and this gentleman was ready to meet Sister Mercy. Oh yes, even at the wedding, Jesus Christ went to the wedding. He didn't just stay. He went to the wedding and people met there. So you meet people anywhere. The one which made me laugh is someone said, sometimes even you go to the funeral house or the funerals to the grave, if you know the person, go. Because you never know. You know, people, when they are going to the funerals, it's this culture, our African culture, sometimes they want you to wear tattered clothes. Tattered clothes, you look like, like you are from a very, very poor family, like you are wearing rags. No. When I worked in Botswana, when they say it's a funeral, there's the wake. You go at the wake. This is when you spend the night there. In the morning, then when it's time to go to the graveyard, my dear, you'd think you are attending a wedding. Everybody comes out in their best shoes, their best dress, their best suits. So even there, someone can see you. You can meet yours. In church, you can meet him. On the street, you can meet him. In college, at college, you can meet him. Or he can pass you by. Our sister Mercy has mentioned how she missed some of these chances. Yeah, we can say maybe that was not the time, but we can learn how we miss the chances. Because this is what I even teach the women. Because you want a man who is packaged already. He's got a Range Rover parked in the garage. He's got a mansion already. He's got things in the house. These are the things that you are looking for. You miss him because sometimes you start together. You start together from the best, okay? If you see a man, he can be looking like someone who is not worthy, but you can turn that man, even if he's riding on a bicycle, when he comes to propose to you, you can turn him from riding that bicycle to driving the most beautiful Lamborghini, whatever beautiful cars are out there. Why? Because you model him. You'll be growing together. You polish him. As women, we polish men. They come as they are. But as we are together in the relationship, I'm telling you, we polish the men. And then other women start looking at your man. Because you have polished him, he looks accomplished, he is well packaged, and then you say, wow, he's the one I want. Hello, go and find your own. Find your own, raise the bar with him, have a vision, have a purpose. Both of you, you must have a vision, have a purpose, know who you are and why you are on earth, okay? And also be able to share with your children and be able to educate them and give them proper knowledge. If you are in the diaspora and you leave it to the school and the teachers, they won't learn anything here. If you are in the society and in community, if you don't teach your young girl and give them proper information, it will be wrong. Me, I remember one day the mistake I made. I told my children, I said, I've got 3 girls, 2 boys. And then I said, when they go to church, they joined the choir. When they joined the choir, they'll say, okay, Mommy, we are going to the choir now to sing. I go to the same church as they go. So I know the men in the choir and all that. So they go to the choir, they come back home. So I start having, as a parent, now they are of that age. So you start having anxiety. Because now I can see the boys. The boys are like this in my yard. They will come to visit because they are girls there. So I would say, okay, ladies, when these boys come, make sure you are not in the house. Don't sit in the house if they are coming to see you or just visiting to talk about church and to talk about whatever, or you are practicing songs. You must take the bench. I used to have a bench in the kitchen. Take this bench, put it outside there. Sit there under the tree and start talking about whatever verses you want to start talking about, but not in the house. Why? I was scared that if at all these boys don't have values, they don't have values and they have not been taught by their fathers, they may end up raping my girls. So I don't want any such things. And I tell them that, look, every man is a lion. When I say every man is a lion, I mean, the lion, that lion, he can eat you. And when I say every man is a lion, he can eat you. For a lack of a better way, those days, yes, this is what I used to tell them. The lion will eat you. So they'll say, mommy, how can a lion eat me? I say, oh yes, it will eat you. It will start by touching you. It will touch you. It will want to touch your breast. After it wants to touch your breast, the lion will want to touch your thighs. When it touches your thighs, the lion would want to touch your diamonds. So don't, okay? Don't open and show anybody your diamonds. You have to sit outside on the bench.
Oh.
So one day I found the guy in the kitchen. I say, why were you inside the kitchen? No, ma'am, I mean, it's just kitchen. I say, yeah, you are saying it's just kitchen. I don't want kitchen. I don't want kitchen. You have to be outside, like I've said. No kitchen. So I started talking about that and having conversation with them that this is what happens. If you start...
Ativi, listen, I just want to take, there are so many questions and so many comments here that I don't want to cut you short, but I just also look at the
I will take a pause.
Okay, let me just take some of these comments here because I want also the listeners those that are not on the platform to also have, an idea of what it's going on. It's so interesting here. I don't know whether to stay here or to stay in the chat box. So someone says here, please, will there be a recording or replay for some of us who just joined? Yes, there would be. Someone says he or she won't meet you at home. And someone says, thanks, Auntie Valerie, at the wedding which Jesus attended, he was told there was no wine, not meat or bread. And someone says, women must be realistic about their ideal man. So funny. Another one says, so funny listening to this conversation, honestly, and looking back at how our dating looks like. I spent over a year going to my future wife. At the time, it was like dating her parents instead of the girl. We're going to talk about that. Dating her parents instead of the girl. When we go to the house to visit, sometimes we spend more time at the parents for them to know, and that helps the parents to also advise you on, on how to meet the family expectations and so on. There was no messy, like it wasn't messy like today, where dating is all about sex and nudity, so totally different from then. And someone says, yeah, tall, black and handsome, the expectations of a man. And someone else says, mom knows all the men in the choir, she's checking them out for her daughters. And just generally just reiterating what you had to say. And someone says, well said, my dear sister Valerie. We were told that it was the truth that a man's success in life was dependent on the wife that he would marry. Truly, we've seen it how women transformed lives and families. Nothing like today. A woman wants to know how much you have in your account first. So unfortunately today, we have something else making women and girls insecure. Auntie Valerie, please call a spade a spade. Auntie Valerie, I attended one of your workshops. I so love your approach. Fantastic. So I want to go back to because the time, right? Maybe we'll have another session one day. Now the time, Sister Mercy, I want to ask you this question. So you got married after this whole long period of waiting. What was it like to now adjust? You've been very independent. You've been, you've done things your way, and you've used your own space and making your own decisions. So when you now got married, what was it like for you?
Thank you so much. Oh, that's why there is the room for counseling and tutoring before you venture into anything in life. And thank God, while I was waiting, there's this, let me just say it here. God gave me some wonderful friends, family friends. Like God puts me in the middle of them. Where I was staying, they were like circle around me. Anywhere I turned to, they were there. So those times, I wasn't really lonely. I wasn't lonely at all. The families were there for me. These friends were there. Both husband and wife, they were all there for me. I can go to their houses. So when it was now getting close, one of them was telling me, you've been doing everything by yourself, and I can do everything. There is nothing I cannot do. He now said, when you get there, don't go and jump and begin to do all those things. Be careful. Be patient. Some things are for men to do. Let it be done. Don't jump at it. So I borrowed my self-sense again. Again, I've been advised. So it's a learning process. It's a learning process. There'll be that time that, because everything you've done by yourself, I know how to do it, I know how to do it. So, and when it's getting there's like, you want to reply, just keep quiet. So keep quiet. So I'm very cautious, and I know where I'm coming from. This is a new kettle of fish altogether. So it can't be the way you've been doing it. So I'm intentional. That's the word. I am intentional about this new lifestyle. Even though there'll be times that as some brushes, just quickly, I'll just keep quiet. I'll just.
Sister Mercy, I want to dig in deep a bit, and I like what someone says again. Sister Mercy, borrow small sense. So you of course you had counseling, you had friends that would advise you, you had friendships, and and sometimes you now have to know that, and this is very key, that there are some things that the man had to do, and there's some things that women had to do. So what were some of those? Because you've lived by yourself for a long time, and then you now have to relocate and then start living with a man. So just by way of conversation and insight, generally speaking, what are some of the things that just generally speaking? So those of us that are at least believing God, when we get there, we'll know how to adjust ourselves.
Okay, like I said, there is nothing I can do. Electrical, everything. I can fix anything, take a mad, those men's things. But I was doing that all by myself, and probably because I grew up with my mom as well. So we were doing things by ourselves while growing up. So I was just even while on my own. So anything in the home. While in Nigeria, I can go to my generator and change oil, whatever, just do all sort of things. I know I will, especially, okay, I don't know whether I should mention this. It was actually your husband that told that, be careful. Be careful. All those things you used to do. All those things. Don't go and be doing all those things. But I said, okay. So that's what happened.
So you were, very used to, I know you now, you can even fix your car by yourself by mechanic. But let me take a question here. Someone says, so did you find it?
Let me get you something. That one you just said. Recently we went somewhere to buy something. This issue of mechanic. And Rana was feeling with some things to do. Went to look for, before he came back, I have quickly done the thing. I said, are you a mechanic?
Sorry. Okay. Let me catch myself. Now, this is a question I would ask. He said, did you find it strange suddenly having to share your personal space with another person after almost 5 decades? Or was it a smooth transition? So you've answered some of those questions.
Yeah, true. When we first got married, I wasn't really enjoying my sleep. I wasn't comfortable with somebody else on the same bed with me. It took me time to adjust. It really took me time to adjust. Can you imagine for 50 years, it was like, but God helped me. God helped me.
Sister Mercy, you're in trouble today. Let me ask, so someone says, what a value-added wife you are, Sister Mercy. Your husband is a blessed man. Someone says, Sister Mercy, you're a gem. Thanks for being such a blessing. I think most men like self-sufficient women and all of that. So we want to talk about the spark in the relationship, yeah? And Auntie Valerie, you're going to come in here shortly, but let me just ask Sister Mercy. So was spark and intimacy? Was it new to you? And how did you navigate that?
Probably, like I said, thank God for my husband. Like where I was coming from, it's still with me. It's still with me. So I'm not the romantic type.
Yeah.
But he is the romantic type. You know, the spark is the one bringing it in, and I just have to respond. I have to respond. You know, and another thing, probably because over the years, I haven't stayed alone for long. You know, I was the man, the woman, I was just doing everything by myself, church, those socials were not there. So I'm just myself, but he tries to bring the spice. He's the one bringing the spice in. Every time bringing the spice in.
So someone is asking this question here. So it's Valentine's season, Sister Mercy. So what are your plans for Oga? See, if you need tutorial, come, let us give you some tutorial lessons. We are here to help you. So Auntie Valerie, so tell us about how to maintain the spark in the relationship.
All right, when you just start dating, there are those butterflies, you don't want to let go, you hold the hand, you look at each other, you hold each other, you don't want to part. Remember, you escort you up to your gate, and then you start going back again, you start escorting him, halfway he starts escorting you, and then you start going back. Dad used to say, hey, nkani nikanyamata, that is in my language. So literally translating, when you are in good company, it's very difficult to part, especially in the company of a young man or a company of a young woman. So young man, just go. Otherwise, you will never go. You keep on coming to the gate and going back and coming back and going back. So that butterfly, sometimes when you get married, you are happy, and then we let that thing go. We become too familiar and we take our partners for granted. When that happens, then things go wrong. You start living in the house like two boats in the night. The boat in the night, it will just pass like this. Okay? They will just bypass each other. There's not even a hello, because you may not even see the light. You won't even see anybody. So when that thing happens, please don't let your marriage or your relationship reach that stage. So number one, what should you do? Because of the hustle and bustle of our era now, you find that people are too busy. You've done a long 12-hour shift, maybe a 9 to 5 job. I do long hours. I'll leave the house at 8 o'clock. Come back home at 9 o'clock. So where is room for intimacy? You have to be intentional. So number one, when things go wrong, to stay connected, communicate with your spouse, communicate with each other. When you communicate, you are able to understand and give each other chance. Let the person be able to express themselves. Don't cut short. Someone wants to speak, you are speaking on top of them. He wants to tell you something, but or you, the man, your friend wants to tell you something. Hey. No. Be intentional. Communicate, dialogue, to listen to what your friend has to say. Listen to their heart. Let them talk about their feelings. How are they feeling regarding the situation that has happened? I've got a young couple. I cry myself because I've done everything, all that I can, but they are not listening to each other. So once you don't listen to each other, it does not work. So they wanted to cut short the process of counseling, which is not good. I normally tell my couples, instead of someone talking on top of you, write in a book. If the topic is finances, write finances. You don't like the way your husband is misusing the funds for the house. or you don't like the way your wife is spending money for the house. So what are you going to do about it? You write in a book what you are going to do about it, what the problem is, what you are going to do about what does it make you feel that you have been able to tell them on the paper? Because it's difficult to communicate verbally, some people. But when it's on paper, because that's what the tool I use. I use that tool to the couples, such that it's very, very interesting, but I will leave that for later. They are able to communicate, then they exchange. This one gives this one the exercise book. And then this person reads quietly what Valerie has written. I also read, Nixon will read what I've written. I also read what Nixon has written. Then we put our papers down. We sit opposite each other. Then we are looking at each other and we say, okay, I've heard what you have said here. So what is the solution? So you start now discussing the solutions because you have already heard, they have expressed themselves. And then now you are finding the plans. You are making the plan how you are going to conquer that problem. Number 2, schedule intimacy, okay? You must be able to schedule intimacy. If you do not schedule intimacy, you find that you fall into that trap whereby physical intimacy now goes away and you don't get physical intimate with your spouse. Why? Because you are not being intentional. I told you that sometimes we work long hours. So you must find a balance. So I've found a balance within those 12 hours. There are times when I'm off. So we'll plan in advance. I'm working, I've got 3 long days. So since I've got 3 long days, on such a date, I'm going to be off duty. I'll be off duty on such a date. I think it's a good time, isn't it? It's a good time. Yeah, it's a good time. But in between, maybe one of us is burning. I've got a nice verse, which I use, and a rose. Sometimes I use fresh roses or plastic rose. I've got a plastic rose. Okay, it's in the bedroom. I wish I had brought it here. I put it in the vase and I put it on the table. It moves away from the bedroom to the lounge. So that in itself, that flower in the vase tells him it's a signal that, oh, even if they've done a long shift, I beg, it seems like they want something. So since they want something tonight, let me get ready. So because sometimes we can be shy, some women can be shy, you can use that as a tool. It's the tool I use. It's very good. I just put the flower there in the vase and then he sees it. So he knows that, okay, tonight is the night. Sometimes I sing a song, okay? I'll come to number 4, but be intentional, okay? Yes, Sister Clara, get yourself a red rose or a pink one. So be intentional. Even you, the men, if you want something, traditionally, we have things which we use, okay? Now, because there are boundaries, there are some things I cannot talk about here, but I can just say use something that you use. But we have things like beads, different colors, communicate different things to different people. Sister Mercy, you are laughing. I see maybe you heard about this one. I see. So it communicates also something, but I prefer a rose. So be intentional, make plans. Even if you are busy, try to find time. Physical intimacy is very, very important. Number 3, when you are having problems, do not blame each other. Hey, it's your husband. Hey, it's him. Oh, it's your parents. It's your relations. Hey, it's your relatives. It is you. Once you start doing that, it brings bitterness and acrimony in the marriage and into the relationship. And it starts to erode away from what you are trying to develop, okay? So don't blame. They say, there's a Nigerian proverb which says, the worm that eats the leaf is beneath it, okay? the worm that eats the leaf is beneath it or under it. So find out the root cause of your problems which you are experiencing in a home or in your relationship. If you are not yet married, it's courtship, whatever, you can apply these principles to whatever type of relationship you are having. Yes, don't blame each other. Sit there and find out the root cause. When you find the root cause, since the thing which is eating the leaf, if you got garden, the vegetables, you find your leaves are being eaten. When you look behind, you find the worms here which are eating your leaves. You get some spray, isn't it? You spray so that the germs go away. So when you find the cause, you uproot the problem. Once you uproot the problem, you are good to go. So don't apportion blame. Once you apportion blame, you find that even intimacy goes away because this one is bitter, that one is bitter. You have no time for physical intimacy or just for intimacy. When we talk about intimacy, it's not just physical intimacy, whereby you are having sexual penetration with your partner. No. You even touch, even just talking, even just going cycling, even just going for a walk, even just meditating together, praying together. That is time of intimacy which you are having. The fourth one, please, whether you are a man or you are a woman, I normally get a lot of this from the men. The men will say, coach, my wife does not initiate sex in our marriage. I'm tired. Oh, it's every time it's me who has to initiate. I have to initiate. So don't let it just be a man's job. Even you, I said, even if you are shy, we make dates, we plan, but in between, things happen. I'm not going to wait for Saturday evening or Friday night. Okay? So even you as a woman, initiate. Take a flower, sing a song. In my home, we've got a national anthem. Find your own national anthem in your home. In the morning, I've got my own national anthem when I wake up, and if I want the hitting and hammering to start in the morning until evening, so that the build-up is great. The build-up is great. When I wake up, even if maybe it's Saturday, because my Sabbath is Saturday, I'll start singing when I'm in the shower. We like the song by Rod Stewart. It says, "Tonight is the night." You can Google it on YouTube and listen to the words. Okay? It says, "Tonight's the night, gonna be all right, 'cause I love you, girl, and nobody's gonna stop us now." My husband just bursts laughing. Whether he's in the bedroom, wherever he is, he starts laughing. He will start laughing. And I say, yeah, message delivered, message received. So have your own national anthem that you use to alert your friends. So be intentional. Don't just stay there and wait for the man. Even you can. And don't just kick. The men also, they just like to give a kick. Yeah, they will kick you on the heel. No kicking. Just use the words and say, no, you can sing a song or something. And then the woman will know that, no, okay, I'm desired. The man feels desired. And the woman feels desired. Because you have to think that you are desirable. You are affirming your husband or your partner that you desire them. You want to be near them. Okay. Then in all these things, please, number 5, personal hygiene. Let's not forget personal hygiene. Brush the teeth. Buy Roroni after you've had your shower, and buy Roroni to use there. Not lift the arm and you've got this yellow crust here. Our brothers, if you lift your arm, there's this crust gold ring around this. No, we don't want that. It mustn't be there. Okay? Same with women. Make sure you are all clean everywhere. When you are clean everywhere, the man will be wanting to come home. Not he's in the bar, he doesn't want to go home. What? He's scared of what he's going to find. If you open mouth, it's like it's the sewage. You lift your armpit, it's like you are selling fish from the armpit. You open your legs, oh God, it's like it is sewage. No, same with the men. Don't do that. Be clean. 2, don't keep strawberry. Strawberry, you know strawberry, when you go to get strawberry or raspberry from the ground, you know there are those things before you get to the fruit, which you have to put aside. No, clean that area. Make that area clean, okay? If you are married, practice hygiene before and hygiene after, okay? Practice those. They are very, very, very important. And affirmation. Affirm your wife, affirm your spouse, affirm your boyfriend. That's what feeds a man. Before respect, a man wants affirmation. You recognize that he is there. Hey, Abi, you know, I love how you look after our family. You bring the paycheck every month. We go to buy food. The fridge is full of food. Thank you so much, my husband. Thank you so much. If it's a boyfriend, oh, thank you so much. You take me out on these wonderful dates. We go to the movies. You take me to the restaurant. We have a meal together. No, thank you so much. I like that. I appreciate that. Okay? So you have to be appreciative when you affirm. If you don't affirm your man, he is going to get it from somewhere. And women, we like to complain when you're having problems. You go to your friend. Oh, me, my husband, ABC, this is problem. That very friend you are complaining to is gonna go behind your back and he will be eating your rewards because she will start affirming your man. When he feels affirmed, they will develop that bond. Cheating doesn't have to be, excuse me. Cheating doesn't have to be physical, even just emotional. There's emotional cheating as well. You don't have to sleep with anyone to cheat. Even emotionally, you can do it. So please, when you do all these things, you find that everything now just flows. Everything flows through nicely. You communicate, number 1. You schedule time for intimacy, okay? Number 3, don't blame. You also contributed maybe 50%, even 99%. Your friend might have just contributed 1% to the problem. So if you don't want your love to die down, that's what you do. As for revamping the romance, if it's dead, I'll just give you 2 tips. I'll be generous. Number 1, I'm old school. If my husband has gone for work and he comes back, I'm telling you, I'm not going to be sitting on WhatsApp. I'm not going to be sitting on WhatsApp. I'll be off WhatsApp. I'll be by the door to welcome him. Hello? Welcome home. You come in. Home is supposed to be heaven. If the home is like hell, you think he's going to want to come back? Excuse me, because now.
It's okay, Auntie.
You think he is going to want to come home to a home whereby you are hostile, there's no love, you don't appreciate him, you don't receive him well. So make your home a heaven where he comes to. So I receive him by the door. He comes in, I'll carry the bag or it's a newspaper, whatever he has, if it's a bag of fruits or whatever, I'll receive that, put it in the kitchen or wherever the thing is supposed to be. When he sits down, I'm not going to start offloading. Hey, my day was like this. You know, the kids today, the children did this and this and this. You know, at school, this one, the report and Don't do
Bridget.
that. You don't do that to a man. If you want him to stay and if you want the sparks to be flying, give him time to decompress. Let him sit there. Men love to sit in silence. If he sits there in silence, there's nothing wrong with him. He's not sick. Oh, don't keep asking him, are you okay? Are you okay? He's okay. He just wants that silence. Leave him. So you leave him for 30 minutes. If he wants 1 hour, maybe you will stay there, then stand up, go to the bedroom, have shower, change, do whatever he wants to do. And then he will come and sit down. When he sits down, then he will say, yes, my wife, yes, my partner, how was your day? Then you start vibrating. Today my day was good. The kids, this one got a report. They said the report is A+ or whatever, B or C or F. This is where he should improve, and that, and that, and that. Then when you are in the bedroom, no matter what, learn to spoon. You can spoon each other. Like I said, you can develop your own tradition. I'm just sharing some of the traditions which I use because they are the ones which have worked for me. But I'm not saying you can use those. You can use those, yes, if they work for you as well. But you can find your own. Spooning is when you lie side by side. He's sleeping here. He's sleeping on your back. You put your hand across his belly. Okay? He may be looking that way. He's giving you your back, and you are looking, your tummy is touching his back. And then, as you fall asleep, you find that each one will take their own position on how they sleep. But start by holding each other's hands, by spooning. That way, even if because you were apart for a long time, he went for work for so many hours. Now he is back. You have received him at the door. You've hugged him or whatever. I said 2 have thrown in the third one. You've hugged him. Fourth one, you have kissed him or whatever. It's the little things which, it's not even big things. I'm telling you, this month of February, you don't need the big things. It's just the small things whereby you are being considerate of another human being. Some men, like Sister Mercy shared, 50 years, she's been alone. And then suddenly there's a man in the house. She's been fixing, she's a fixer. She's been doing things by herself. Some men, they'll feel intimidated and emasculated. But a strong man will just praise like he praised. Okay? A strong man will praise. But if they are boys, the boys will just disappear and go to the cave and say, oh, she's showing me up. She's showing me up. She's just showing me up, Yeah. It's not supposed to be like that. A man should be appreciative of what the woman is bringing to the table. He should be confident. He should be secure in all that a woman is doing. Same with the man. The woman should be confident, should be secure in what the man is doing. But one thing which I do not condone is if you are in an abusive relationship, because you didn't pick up the red flags or the signs, or they hid their tail very well between the legs because they wanted to marry you and then start troubling you. Find a way to get out, especially if they are physical. They hit you, they beat you, even emotionally. Some people, they can abuse you emotionally to the point of distraction. In Zambia, a few years back before pandemic, the women had taken to killing their husbands with the knives, kitchen knives. They've killed their husband. Why? It's because of the years, so many years of abuse. They were not communicating. They were not discussing the issues. They were not finding out the worm which was under the leaf so that they get rid of it. They just carried on, soldiering on. That's another thing. Society will say, if you are married, they will say Shipikisha Club. It's not Shipikisha Club. Shipikisha Club means resilience club. Even if he's mistreating you, he beats you, you have to be so resilient to such an extent. No.
And Valerie, like, our time is so fast spent.
Yeah.
That I'm thinking that maybe we would have to do, I would think about something that we have to do.
Yes.
because this is a very, very interesting session. And Auntie Valerie, you have a book. You have books.
Yes, I have the book, The New Way for African Relationships. I don't want to stand up and go and get where it is, but it's the new way.
Where can we get it? What's the name? The New Way for African Relationships.
You can
and
find.
What are your social media contacts?
You can get me on my Facebook page, because my website has been tampered with. At the moment, it's down. So my email is Clara. If you are here, if you can write my email in the chat, vmmuzelenga@yahoo.com. That is vmmuzelenga@yahoo.com. The best way is the email. Let them email me, and I'll send them the link for them to buy my digital book or my physical book.
I'm going to put your email and your link in the when the YouTube something's over, so people can reach you. Now, before I just want to ask this question to Mercy, Sister Mercy.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you this quick question. This is in retrospect, and for young people who are listening, who are watching in, what would you say to your younger self? Knowing what you know now, assuming there's a young girl who's listening to you, what would you say to that young person?
Okay. What I will say is this: in terms of marriage, there's no time it's too early to start to plan and envision and desire it. So even from a teenage age, let me just use this as an example. I listened to one young lady recently. She's in her 20s. And she said she began to pray for her husband in her teenage years. From her teenage years, she knew who she wanted and she was praying for that person. So I would rather say that, so as a young girl, begin to commit your marriage, your home into the hand of God, and begin to pray that you will not make mistake. And that all the mistakes we made, you have to socialize. Don't cage yourself. Just know your boundaries. Know what to do and what not to do. Know that this is sin and you don't go with it. You don't meddle with it. But pray, commit it to God. One thing, let me just delve into something else. There were prayers I've prayed in my life and I thought God didn't hear. And I bungled them when the answers came. Most times we have our mindsets. And once those things come and it's not packaged in the way we want them, we think that is not the answers. But it is later, say, oh my God, I even gave God time of what those things I wanted. And he did it, but because it didn't come the way I wanted it, I didn't know that was the answer. It was later I realized it. So whatever it is you want in marriage, pray to God about it. Like I told, during my own waiting time, I said, I knew it was going to come. But the time is what I didn't know. And I said, God, don't let me make a wrong decision. Don't let me choose wrongly. Not that who is this, and he will come, but God, don't let me make a mistake about that person when it eventually comes. So plan, pray, and another, enjoy yourself, enjoy God, and pray. Just leave it to God. All our prayers are answered, but God makes all things beautiful in his time.
Now, one more question I want to ask you, and in retrospect, do you think the wait was worth it? Now, judging from what you have now.
Yes.
Do you think the wait was worth it?
Yes, it's worth it. I have God Almighty has plans. And even when we make mistake, he says, all things work together for good to them that love God. He knows how to compensate us. He says, all the years the caterpillar, the palmer worm have eaten, he said, I'm going to restore unto you. Like, let me say this in closing. I was complaining to a friend that after I got here, this and that, said, you go and just be enjoying yourself. So which work are you looking for? You have worked all your life. Go and just be sleeping and be enjoying yourself and just not complaining. I have no regret and I thank God for what he's doing now.
Perfect. Now, I just want to quickly just go to some of the text, some of the comments I have here. This comment box is hot, but we just have to, I just have to quickly take this comment. So this contributions here, Coach Valerie, it's just in time for Valentine. Use a signal to indicate when you want your spouse's attention. Wow, that's ingenious. I need to get myself a red rose. And also those with higher anger or temperaments must learn to avoid getting into arguments when so annoyed or in anger, to avoid putting more oil into the fire, as sometimes from a little issue they become bigger because things are dramatized. Big points: when there is trouble, don't blame each other, work together. And what else? Yeah, well, I mean, okay, good. So someone also says here, most of emotional abuse end up in physical. Never in any circumstances allow these abuses to take place. Please reach out to us if you are in Ireland for support. The African Center email info@africacenter.ie, and we will provide you with the support needed.
Thank you.
Perfect. So I just want to say that if you thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, next week I'm going to have a panel of discussants. We're going to talk about spotting the red flags in your relationship. I don't want you to miss it. And on Monday, I'm going to have an article out by, I have a special guest writer. She's a teenager, and she's going to tell us about what teenagers think about Valentine. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Ibinabo Enebi. Please support this ministry. And as you listen, check out the videos. If you missed last week's video, check it out. And please leave a comment, and please share. And so Valerie, any last words quickly?
The last word is some people that the notes came up a lot about the Chinamwali. This is the book. I don't know if you can see. That's the book I've written. I've written about the rite of passage. I've written about the rite of passage about Chinamwali in this book. So get yourself this book from Amazon, and you read about it in there. That is the Chinamwali. It's just when you reach Menaki, they put you in the house and they teach you. So about the personal hygiene, how to cook, how to take care of the house. Nothing dramatic about it.
Auntie Valerie, I think we should have a Chimelali class maybe one of these days, where it's a rite of passage where we'd have to teach our young girls. Maybe we should, Clara, maybe we should do something like that.
Those lessons, those are sacred. That is sacred ground. There are some things that have got to be followed.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about it and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we can discuss. So I want to thank everyone that's been here today. It's been an enlightening conversation. Many thanks. People tell me many thanks. Again, Ibinabo and all the speakers. Well done. Big congrats to everyone. I just want to thank everyone who's been here. Someone says great value, and I learned a lot. Thank you to our amazing speakers. Thank you so much. And so next week, I don't want you to miss it. And then the week after that as well, I'm going to have a relationship coach and counselor, also here as well. So in the meantime, look after yourself, value yourself, be mindful about your relationships, and love yourself. Thank you very much, everybody. Auntie Mercy, Sister Mercy and Auntie Valerie, I'm going to call you. And Clara, thank you so much for making this to happen. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
Bye, everyone. God bless you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.